It's Visual Journal Friday. If you'd like to know more about visual journaling, what it is, how it's different than keeping a regular sketchbook, how I use it with my students, how I think it could be helpful for you as an artist to grow, then check out my more in-depth description in episode 1 of the Visual Journal Friday series. Also, you can check out my blog post where I go into a lot of detail about it. I will have that link in the description below. Hello, happy Visual Journal Friday. Here we are. We're gonna check out book number 4. This is my visual journal from the year. Oh no, it doesn't have a year on it. 2011 is what that says. There's usually a label on them. I don't see a label on this one. Oh, there it is. 2011 to 2012. All right, so this book, the cover came pre-made with this design. I bought it at a bookstore. It was being marketed with a whole line of sketchbooks that were designed by the students at Savannah College of Art and Design in Georgia, and they designed the covers and I guess the end covers inside. I really liked this one because it reminded me of the Muppets and the opening sequence for the Muppets in the theater, and so I printed out appropriately sized images of the Muppets and had them sort of coming out of those little windows like they do in their theme song number. I always was a huge fan of the Muppets growing up. On the back, a couple of I voted stickers, my child's I voted sticker. This is an artwork done by a student that was making stickers. She gave me one of her stickers and I put it on there. Inside, this beautiful color is the end page of this book. I thought that that was a beautiful color and part of the reason that I purchased the book as well. It just was super appealing and inspiring to me. And these are a bunch of gold fingerprints that I traced, and sort of feels like a cheetah pattern in a way to me. A little filigree stencil. A woman running that I thought was attractive. This says 2011 June 26th Sunday, my first gray hair. I know that at some point I did pull my first gray hair out and glue it onto her hair. It has disappeared over the years, but there was my first gray hair taped there. I've gotten a few more over the years, in the past 8 additional years, but not too many. I'm doing all right. Playing around with some alcohol inks again, still before I knew that you had to use the non-porous surfaces to really get them to do what you wanted them to do. They were just no, actually, I think that these might have been a vibrant liquid watercolor, the Dr. Martin's liquid watercolor, because I did play around with those around this time as well. Some collage imagery that I found attractive. There are some like perfume samples glued under here too that actually still smell. Good grief. I don't know what perfume it is. It doesn't matter. Just sort of doodling. I have never dealt with domestic violence and don't read into that. I don't even remember why I put that in there. Crystals. I drew some crystals on a necklace. I like crystals. Angelfish. This is about the time I was studying maybe to get more fish and thinking about angelfish. I drew an angelfish from memory, and then I drew an angelfish from observation. This is important. This is a lesson that I try to teach my students all the time. You could be a much better artist if you draw from reference. Also some info about angelfish and what they need, the pH of the water, the temperature of the water, and so on. China's coming to get you. I really was just enamored by this imagery. Also, there's some cultural things here about their hand gestures and other body language versus ours. At the time, I think maybe there was something about China really catching up with us in the world stage and economy. And up here I wrote, better start learning your Mandarin. Elephants. Oh, this is the elephant book. I was super into elephants at the time, and Ganesha. They're pretty awesome. A lady and some bubbles. I drew on this, probably started with just the circles of watercolor and then drew an image into it and sort of translated it onto this background. And then she's got feather wings, she's blowing bubbles. This was an image out of a magazine that I extended up and finished the drawing, as well as then found a skull and sort of mimicked it over here and drew this skeleton. Bookmarked it at some point for some reason. Oh yeah, this image really intrigued me, and I just wanted to study it for hours. And I noticed how, because I love people watching, and so I wrote a whole thing about studying this image and what people were doing, and I've sort of made notes about some of them. This one says, this chick's been shopping and got lost. Making a I don't care because I'm cute face. Social fire, social fire, social fire. In large groups, people tend to make small social fires because it's intimidating. There's one, there's one. Just a circle of people. Circle of people, social fire. This one says, I feel like someone is dry humping me from behind. And there was. What this appears to be, these people have all come together for a bare bones party on a big concrete slab. They feel awkward. They don't know many of the others, so they create these tight social fires of two to at most 6 people. Many stand there and try not to look like they don't know what to do with themselves. But it is obvious they are uncomfortable. Everyone should be dancing, but few are. Many more are checking their phones, standing and talking, taking pictures, or simply watching what others are doing. It seems the party has not yet begun or is about to fail miserably. Maybe they all need a couple of drinks to loosen them up. You can learn a lot about what people do to hide their insecurities by looking closely at the picture. Or maybe it's my own hidden insecurities that I'm placing on them because that is how I would feel in this situation. What it actually is, according to this caption, Mobile Clubbing Dance of It 2007 at Tate Modern London. I guess the idea is everybody's dancing to their own music on their mobile phone. Some notes about an artist I was studying. What is art? What is beauty? Aesthetics, and so on. The nature and value of art. This looks like this is still more studying about National Board. And then, so I've covered the whole page in writing, and then I covered it in watercolor, and then I sort of highlighted certain phrases. Imitationalism, formalism, emotionalism, what is art, blah, 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 blah. And there's General Grievous, because I had a toddler who was into Star Wars at the time. What is art? What makes good art? What makes it good? Some notes on that. I found these two collage images, this strange man in a scary mask walking in the snow and a snow angel, and so I put them together in a collage and wrote this poem. It says, "Oh, to be like children making something filled with the happy glow of innocence and bright rosy dreams. Should we stop for just a while, let the snow flakes melt on our collars and remember?" By Mona Goldswag. And for some reason, I painted over the word snow angels. So strange. This is when I was helping to administer a test. I remember I just had to be a second person in a room, a proctor, not the administrator, but the proctor. And so I literally, so bored, I started drawing out the song 100 Bottles of Beer on the Wall. And I drew that many bottles. And then I did the ants go marching 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, and so on. Man, I was bored. That must have taken hours. And Liam had a bad dream. He dreamt that he came downstairs one morning and there was a giant robot in our living room, and it woke up and then it busted through the ceiling and was going to take him with it. And so I illustrated his dream. He got a kick out of that. Here we were reading Harry Potter and I was going to draw Hagrid, which means hung over, apparently. Hagrid. With his pet spider. I never got around to finishing this. Obviously just sort of the underpainting. This is one of those sort of Rorschach smoosh things that I then tried to make into 2 separate paintings. This is the same activity that I start all my visual journals, though this is pretty late in the book. But the shapes, the circle, square, triangle, cross, and spiral, you sort of prioritize them, and then you learn their meanings, and then you reflect on why you prioritize them the way you did in your subconscious, not knowing the meanings, even though your subconscious does know the meanings, according to the makers of said activity. I forget what all the meanings are, but I know spiral's growth, square is stability, cross is relationships, triangle, I don't remember triangle, and I don't remember what circle is. But then you make it into an artwork. So that's me pregnant with my second child, Liam, and pork chop. And it says, "Pregnancy makes me grumpy." It really does. That's my husband's name, Wolf. And this is some music on a sheet, and I can't read music, so I have no idea what it is, and the lyrics to the song by the Rolling Stones, "She's a Rainbow." And then my son helped me color this beautiful lady. Pessimism, an inclination to emphasize, advertise, Pessimism, an inclination to emphasize adverse aspects, conditions, and possibilities, or to expect the worst possible outcome. Pessimism is not a cause nor a symptom of my depression, thank the Lord. I think I was annoyed with someone who was being pessimistic at this point, and also apparently dealing with some depression, and glad that pessimism was not part of that. And there's an image here. This does make sense to the word pessimism. It's a beautiful scene of a tropical beach, possibly an island, ideal place to be, and it's just got a bunch of caution symbols: sun poisoning, heat stroke, dislocated finger, boogie boarding, unhappy crab, jellyfish, pulled hamstring, swallowed water. So that's one way to ruin a nice day at the beach, is to think about all those possibilities or focus on things that happen like that. Some of my boy Liam's artwork. June 27, 2011, so he was like 3.5. Sonogram for Nayeli, and this is us trying to figure out names for her. So she's too small to really know whether it's a boy or a girl yet, so we got boy names, we got girl names. Finn, she could have possibly been named Finn if she was a boy. Hue, like the color. Haven was a major possibility. She very much was almost Haven. I really like Kai. But Nayeli is what we went with. Some cute pictures of us. There's those Muppets again. My friend Liz is pretty awesome at printmaking, and I, at the time, was visiting her and she was showing me how her printing press worked, and she had some typeset letters, and I made this for someone. I was gonna give a thank you note, and then maybe I gave them another copy of it and kept a copy. There's those doodle ribbons again that are a good exercise in lighting and doodling. Never follow a hippie to a second location. Good advice. I won't go into it, but yeah. Organize how? That's always been a struggle of mine. If someone were to just come and organize my spaces for me, I would be really good at putting things back where they were assigned to those places, but I can't assign those spaces myself. I'm a piler, not a filer. That's probably just a bunch of, it says, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. I was pregnant, so of course I was tired. Ooh, morning sickness. Nausea, morning sickness. She looks very belly hurt. That's me. I got these wrist compression, like pressure point things. They didn't help at all. This is me expressing my nausea. That's one of the worst feelings in the world, I feel like. Nausea, especially if you can't actually throw up. Oh, then I got an idea that maybe I wanted to do an art center preschool. That definitely is not something I'm interested in anymore. I don't deal well with that age group. I like my own kids that age, but not large quantities of kids that age. More notes on that idea. I drew this picture from a magazine because I thought it was cool. Visual reference. And then I arted over it. This has got some nice textural layers of crayon and lead ink, and then there's some maybe watercolor marker on it. This also has some really cool texture of waxy crayon and pen and watercolor. Tea stained. So there is a tradition in Islamic art of staining the paper with a tea wash from top to bottom. So I think I was learning about that and tried it out. Another Rorschach's mashy thing, and I saw an elephant. Notes on childcare costs. That was a stressor, as I'm sure it is was for a lot of you all. Childcare, right? Am I right? I drew that. I teach a lesson in color theory, but then also we do a thing where we cut our own shape and repeat it around and create our own color wheel in beginning art. And so that was probably just an example, and then some doodles over it. And this says, does Frisket work on pencil? Yes, yes it does, but it lightens it. So I guess I drew the pencil, painted some Frisket over it, which is like a liquid latex that is a masking fluid for watercolor. Then I painted this around it, then I removed the Frisket and observed that it lightened the pencil but did protect the pencil. And there's a cute little drawing of an elephant. Very cute. Duct tape. A student drew that of me. And I drew the background. Just thought that was cool. This was not when the eclipse happened. This was many years before it. The eclipse just happened last year, year before last. This is 2000, this was like 8 years ago. I just found this on the floor, and I don't know that I've ever actually read it, and I'm not gonna read it now. I just thought the handwriting was pretty. And this is a drawing I did, again, from a magazine image. This is some more doodles from my goddaughter, Haley. Probably must have gone to the cabin. It says, from Haley and Mia. She wants to be an art teacher when she grows up. I teach life drawing, figure drawing at the end of Art 1 every year, so that's an example. A student was modeling and I drew her from observation. There's a woman hugging an elephant under there, and then I've done a stencil over it, various layers. There's also some gestural figure drawing under there. Layers are fun. More elephants. The political commentary on the internet is really getting to me lately. I don't know if it's because of my current overly emotional preg state or if I just care more as I get older. Yeah, gosh, and this was how long ago? That is more of an issue today than it was back then. If I only knew, it would just get worse. More elephants. And a dandelion being blown away. This is like some tissue paper with some watercolor staining on it. Some more of me drawing a student posing. And this windowy with the organic ribbon thing is me figuring out one of my window paintings maybe, or just revisiting it and showing my students the layering effect and also the balance between geometric and organic and how they really accentuate each other, and also windows and layers. Born This Way, Lady Gaga. Don't be a drag, just be a queen. Those are just the lyrics of the song. And I can't read that, it's transparent. It says, Jesus loves little children. All the children of the world. That's that whole song. This is some printout of all the fonts that were available when I worked at a publishing company that I just glued in here because there were a bunch of them. Every single font, the whole alphabet in every single font, all these pages. And then I made them into a rainbow and I collaged on top of them. That's all there is to it. That's my art teacher from high school, Mr. Mosier. I'm assuming that was probably like a prom after party casino thing. Thank you for the hair chalk. I like it. You are the best friends I ever had. I like you. Thank you for the wand too. Love, Lucy. Aw, Lucy. One of my children's best friends. She's 13 now. 14. A cat on some tracing paper. and a value scale painted again on these font pages. And there's some cartoony doodles of cats and sheep and robots and octopi and kids. There's one on a handstand and a skunk and a flower and a nerd doing a split and a frog and a muscle man and a thingamajig was it. And then I just doodled, 'cause art. There's that cat. I must have just traced it. Honestly, not traced it. And then there's a note from one of my students, Zoe, and she wrote in French, so I don't know what it says, but I think I do. I love you very much. Something good and artistic. Teacher. Yep, something like that. To Kill a Mockingbird. I could have easily named Nayeli Scout too. Thinking about an art room fish tank. Oh, I had an art room fish tank for a while. That is pencil. I got some aggression out that day. That's a lot of pencil. That probably felt really good. More talking about Nayeli's name, possible names. Lily, Maggie, Nayeli, Sarah, Ivy, Elise, Willow. I really liked Willow. Woo! There's some pen. Yeah, pregnancy can mess with the emotions. I don't know. That might have just been like, hey, can I see if I can empty a pen? Because that is an assignment I do with my students, is they do a drawing where they have to empty a pen. And it's a challenge, but they do it, and the drawings end up being awesome. This is a drawing from observation. I drew the skeletal gesture, and then I developed it on top of a ballerina sitting. Working on a mixtape for my husband, and that came in the mail, and I thought it was pretty cool. Working on the set for that school's year's senior play, All Shook Up. I don't know. Upside down drawings. Just one of the left brain, right brain assignments we do in Art 1. Oh, there's all my doctor's appointment cards. And a list of books I wanted to read at the time. My Moonshine. That's a song that my husband and I really like by Hobex. Jeffries. Greg Jeffries? Greg Jeffries? Is that right? Is the lead singer. He's awesome. Congrats note on receiving my national board certification from the superintendent. And there's pictures of me and all the people that got it that year. Looks like I got sort of slack there at the end. Playing with some windows. Yep. More about getting my national boards. That's me. I wish I wouldn't have drizzled paint on these images, but those are 2 digital images that I created in the computer, obviously, duh, digital. And then I printed them out and put them on here. Yep. Sweet thank you note from a student. Oh, I drew some cards as a bartering system so my son could go to Montessori school. It was really awesome. She let me draw some flashcards from scratch and helped to pay for my son to go to Montessori school for a little while. The end. I always love the end pages because they're so random but really rich, because I just stick stuff there throughout the year. There's another elephant, an elephant. Lots of elephants in this book. All right, the end. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back in a couple of weeks for the next one. This was number 4. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe. And click the bell to receive more notifications. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe. Click the bell icon in order to get more notifications. And don't forget to check out my paintings and my merch like this shirt on seahulshart.com. Bye. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Did you know I have an Instagram? I do. I update it daily. Lots of new posts on what I'm working on. New ideas and my most current projects. You can keep track of what I'm up to on there. So go and follow me. Check it out.